What if I told you that one of Africa's deadliest tragedies was not an accident, but a carefully planned division by European colonizers? Rwanda, once a united nation, was torn apart by Belgium's policies. Today, we expose how Belgium planted the seeds of ethnic conflict that led to the 1994 genocide, and how Rwanda rose from the ashes. Stay tuned.
Now, before the Europeans' interference, Rwanda was once a strong, centralized kingdom. The people were united under one monarch, with a social structure based on class and duty, not race or ethnicity. Now, Rwanda was a well-organized monarchy led by the Mwami, or they call it Mwami, or king. And people were identified more by clan and occupation than other than by ethnicity. When we hear Hutu and Tutsi and Twa were social classes, not separate races. Rwanda was not or rather Rwandans were not divided the way we think today. The division was imported by the West, but that all changed when Belgium arrived. Now, Belgium took control of Rwanda in 1919 after World War I. They did what all colonizers do: divide and rule. Belgium introduced racial division. Belgium reclassified Rwandans into Hutu, which is 85%, and Tutsi 14%, and Twa 1%. They gave Tutsi more power, labeling them as superior. Hutu were treated as inferior, fueling resentment. Imagine your own country telling you that your neighbor is better than you just because of how they look. That's what Belgium did. They forced racial identification, that is between 1930s and 1940s. ID cards were introduced labeling people as Hutu and Tutsi. Hutu lost land, jobs, education, and opportunities under Tutsi rule. Belgium used Tutsi as colonial enforcers, hence deepening the divide. Belgium did not just divide Rwandans. They chose a ruling class and set the stage for war. Now, let's look at the cycle of hatred and the 1959 Hutu Revolution. By 1950s, Hutu, or the Hutus, were tired of being treated as second-class citizens. The resentment that Belgium planted was now growing into full conflict. Hutu overthrew the Tutsi monarchy in 1959. Belgium switched sides, now forcing after the revolution, now the Belgium switched sides, now favoring the Hutus. Hence, thousands of Tutsis fled Rwanda as refugees. Belgium created the Tutsi ruling class, then abandoned them, leaving Rwanda in chaos. But this was just the beginning. Now, let's look at the 1994 genocide, a colonial legacy. By 1994, the hatred Belgium planted exploded. In just 100 days, 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutus were slaughtered in one of the worst genocides in history. So what led to the genocide? Hutu-led government used Belgium racial propaganda to justify violence. Belgium trained militia carried out massive killings. Remember, Belgium trained militia. Yes, that's the keyword there. Then the West watched and did nothing. You know, when we talked about the West, it's all the Americans or the Wazungus. The genocide wasn't tribal violence. It was a direct result of Belgian policies. The blood of Rwanda's people is on the hands of its colonizers, that is Belgium. Now, how Rwanda rebuilt itself is very important. After all this genocide, Rwanda refused to stay broken. After the genocide, the country united, rebuilt, and became one of the Africa's fastest growing nations. Wow. Ethnic IDs were abolished. Now, remember, IDs were introduced earlier on. So, ethnic IDs were abolished. In Swahili say, hey, acha nione kipande. So, when they see you are Hutu or Tutsi, you are labeled. And that was the catalyst for war. Communities, courts brought justice and now the courts were based on community. You don't have to travel to the capital city for your case to be heard. Now Rwanda is now a leader in African innovation and governance. That's true. Rwanda message is clear. Colonial divisions do not define us. We choose unity over division, growth over destruction. This is one of the most developed countries in Africa that the media won't cover. This is not just about Rwanda, but Belgium's tactics were used across Africa. We must learn our history to avoid repeating it. Now, if you like more of these videos, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe.